Dylan, Silent Thriller back at you with another article. This one is about how pandemics can be or can exist more often, or we'll see pandemics more often within our lives. And I want to say that this really isn't news because we've had the swine flu. We've had, I don't know, probably wasn't a pandemic, but we've had that within the past 20 years. We had the swine flu, bird flu, and the 19 flu, the the recent flu. Let's call it the Divock flu. Oh boy. There's only so many things you can say these days. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, this is from Duke Global Health Institute. The statistics say large pandemics are more likely than we thought. Most people are likely to experience an extreme pandemic like the Divock 19 in their lifetime, a new study shows. Divock 19 pandemic may be the deadliest viral outbreak the world has seen in more than a century, but statistically, such extreme events aren't as rare as we may think, asserts a new analysis of novel disease outbreaks over the past 400 years. The study, appearing in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences the week of August 23rd, used a newly assembled record of past outbreaks to estimate the intensity of those events and a nearly yearly probability of them reoccurring. Let's see, where was I? It found the probability of a pandemic with similar impact to Divock 19 is about 2% in any year, meaning that someone born in the year 2000 would have about a 38% chance of experiencing one by now. So it looks like, so in other words, in whatever year you're born, every year after that you're alive, you'll see another added 2% of the likelihood that you'll see a pandemic. So let's say you were born in 2023, by 2043, you'll have a 10% chance in experiencing a pandemic. Something like that. Okay. And that probability is only growing, which the authors say highlights the need to adjust perceptions of pandemic risks and expectations for preparedness. The most important takeaway is that large pandemics like Divock 19 and the Spanish flu are relatively likely, said William Pan, PhD, Associate Professor of Global Environmental Health at Duke and one of the paper's co-authors. Understanding that pandemics aren't so rare should raise the priority of efforts to prevent and control them in the future, he said. The study, led by Marco Mariani, PhD, of the University of Padua in Italy, used new statistical methods to measure the scale and frequency of disease outbreaks for which there was no immediate medical intervention over the past 4 centuries. Their analysis, which covered a murderer's row of pathogens, including plague, smallpox, cholera, typhus, and novel influenza viruses, found considerable variability in the rate at which pandemics have occurred in the past. But they are identified patterns that allow them to describe the probabilities of similar scale events happening again. In the case of the deadliest pandemic in modern history, the Spanish flu, which eliminated more than 30 million people between 1918 and 1920. The probability of a pandemic of similar magnitude occurring range from 0.3% to 1.9% per year over the time period studied. Taken another way, those figures mean it is statistically likely that a pandemic of such extreme scale would occur within the next 400 years. Good. In the case of the deadliest pandemic in modern history, the Spanish flu, which more than 30 million people which eliminated more than 30 million people between 1918 and 1920. The probability of a pandemic of similar magnitude occurring range. Already read that. But the data also show the risk of intense outbreaks is growing rapidly. Based on the increasing rate at which novel pathogens such as SARS-CoV-2 have broken loose in human populations in the past 50 years. The study estimates that the probability of novel disease outbreaks will likely grow threefold in the next few decades. Take a sip of water. Using this increased risk factor, the researchers estimate that a pandemic similar in scale to DIVOC-19 is likely within a span of 59 years. The result, they write, is much lower than intuitively expected, although not included in the PNAS paper. They also calculated the probability of a pandemic capable of eliminating all human life, finding it statistically likely within the next 12,000 years. That is not to say we can count on a 59-year reprieve of a DIVOC-like pandemic, nor that we're off the hook for a calamity on the scale of the Spanish flu for another 300 years. Such events are equally probable in any year during the span, said Gabriel Catul, PhD, the Theodore S. Coyle Distinguished Professor of Hydrology and Micrometeorology at Duke, and another of the paper's authors. Micrometeorology and hydrology. What does that have to do with epidemics? Maybe it's about it's talking about when a 100-year flood occurs today, one may erroneously presume that one can afford to wait another 100 years before experiencing another such event. Catul says this impression is false. One can get another 100 flood the very next year. As an environmental health scientist, Pan can speculate on the reasons outbreaks are becoming more frequent, noting that population growth, changes in food systems, environmental degradation, and more frequent contact between humans and disease harboring animals all may be significant factors. He emphasizes the statistical analysis sought only to characterize the risk, not to explain what is driving them. But at the same time, he hopes the study will spark deeper exploration of the factors that may be making devastating pandemics more likely and how to counteract them. This points to the importance of early response to disease outbreaks and building capacity for pandemic surveillance at the local and global scales, as well as for setting a research agenda for understanding why large outbreaks are becoming more common, Pan said. So that is that article on why we may be seeing more pandemics like the most recent one we've had. So, prediction for me, let's see, it's about to be 2023. Yeah, I'll say we'll see one within the next 10 to 15 years. And that's Madvillainy, Silent Thriller's prediction. Within the next 10 to 15 years, we'll see a similar one to the Divock 19 pandemic. All right. So let's see what else we can find. Give me a moment. See if we can find some video on. Let's see. Nope, not that. No. Okay, let's do this 2-minute video or 3-minute video. Nope, that's not even a video. All right, never mind. We're going to end it here. I'll be back for another video shortly. All right, peace.